Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list. So sorry that I've been kind of absent for the past week or so. So many of you know I went to California. I did one stream while I was out there, but with the computer I brought and handling all the streaming and trading and work, it just wasn't enough juice to handle it. So I wasn't able to stream throughout the whole week. So all in all, now we're back. So we're going to be back to normal every single day as always. So anyways, so sorry about being out for a little bit on vacation, but I'm back now. So with no further ado, we're going to jump into it. I will tell you this, that today isn't a beautiful, beautiful start to the day where we're getting a bunch of different things. They're saying, hey, trade me, trade me. So today's kind of a day where I'm throwing together a watch list based off of some previous plays, previous stocks, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead, share the screen, and then we'll get into it. All right. Here we are. All right. So now that we are back on and things are moving, I'm going to talk about the first stock. So the first stock I'm considering trading on, it's not my first main go-to, but it's one that I will watch, is WMLP. So WMLP was the stock on Friday that went crazy, that everyone was talking about trading, and then it absolutely dumped out of the gates. So not that I really like WMLP and not that I think it's going to be an amazing play or that it's going to be great. I just think that it has a slight chance of having a big morning pop like that. I think there's a strong possibility that we'll see WMLP actually squeeze today up out of the gates. Now, the reason being is because Friday it went from like $1.50 all the way to $5 or $6, and then it got short sold. So all day long, WMLP got shorted, squeezed towards the end of the day, and now this morning it's down even lower. I think that we'll see it drop a little bit lower, but it could also run a strong possibility of having an early morning short squeeze right out of the gates. So basically on WMLP, we're playing the idea that from 585, a bunch of people shorted it down, and there's still some people that need to cover, and when they do, it's going to cause an early morning pop. So you're going to be watching WMLP for a possible long this morning. Possible. All right. Next one I watch is Tesla. So Tesla, again, had its earnings recently. Went on a run from just below, well, basically went on a run from 300 up to 355. Okay, so from Tesla from 300 all the way to 355. Now it's starting to kind of pull back. So I think today what we're going to see happen is we're going to see a little bit of a red day on Tesla. I think initially out of the gates, we're going to see Tesla pull back. And then obviously it'll go into a consolidation mode. But personally, I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback on Tesla. If you look at the yearly chart, you can see that Tesla gapped up and squeezed right into resistance of 370s and 350s. If you go back on the daily chart, you'll see that 350 has been a significant kind of resistance through here, 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 and here and across. So 350s has been kind of a magical resistance for Tesla for quite some time. So I personally think, considering we're up towards a bunch of resistance, we had a nice run on Tesla. We had the good earnings, not really, but we had the continuation, and the hopes and dreams that all investors are banking on did pretty well. Now I think it's getting a little bit exhausted to the upside, and we're starting to gap down this morning. So I think today what we'll see on Tesla is it's gap down. It's going to hold below 346 or even 347.50, and then we're going to see it roll over, and we're going to start seeing it come down closer to a price point of 340, maybe even 335 possibly. That would be a big one. So again, going to be watching Tesla short off of the 346 and 347 dollar area today. Next one on my list will be, we'll talk about Netflix next. So Netflix. So Netflix had its gap down, obviously, from earnings. Hold on, waiting for the chart to load here. So Netflix had its gap down from earnings. You can obviously see gap down, boom, some more, now some more. So I personally am going to start watching Netflix to the long side. I think Netflix has pulled back enough, and now it's getting to a point where it's a good dip buy opportunity, and we're going to start seeing dip buyers coming in, starting to buy the stock back up. It is starting to uptrend off of the lows at 328. So we are starting to have an uptrend here on Netflix. So personally, I'm going to start watching Netflix to the long side. What I'm going to look to do is start buying up dips on Netflix around this trend line, which right now is currently at about 340. So going to be watching Netflix long today. And there's no guarantee that it's going long at all. Personally, the chart looks a little bit more bearish in my opinion right now, but I'm still keeping an open mind that it's starting to get to a point where people are more long bias on the stock than they are short bias. So simply going to start watching Netflix long right off its trend lines. And that's kind of just it for right now. And then also make sure to map out this resistance point on Netflix right at about, yeah, I guess it's really right there at about 343. 343 is a strong level resistance from, its big gap down day. And then a few spike days, it's consolidated this 343 area. All right. Next one on the list is going to be Apple. So Apple, again, is very similar, had earnings, and it's been ramping up, trading very well. Personally, I think Netflix is getting, or not Netflix, sorry, Apple, I think is getting to, I think it's just getting to a price where investors aren't really crazy about buying it up anymore. I mean, if you look at it, it's already had its good run, right? We had its earnings. Its earnings day, it did well. Then the next day, it did even better, right? And then it did pretty well on Friday. But I think we're getting a little exhausted to the upside. And now I'm going to start thinking short bias on Apple. Now I'm not thinking mega short bias. Actually, I'm long bias, long term right now, but short bias for the immediate trade. And I think the immediate trade today is going to be, personally, I think it would make most sense that we'd see Apple have a slight drop in the morning and then a dip buy, something very similar to that it did on Friday. So I'm going to be watching Apple again today. Ideally short bias out of the gates, then I'll be looking for a bounce trade. So for me, Apple is going to be more of a short bias trade initially, followed by a long bias trade here and later in the day or into the coming days. But personally, Apple has a pretty strong resistance right at 207. So I think 207 is kind of the area. I think if we see this thing drop, I think 207 is going to be kind of the area where it catches its footing and kind of holds up. So again, there you have it. Apple to me is going to be more of an early morning short out of the gates, followed by a dip buy. So I'll be watching Apple for first short and then long. And then last one I'm going to talk about is IQ. Not that I'm crazy about IQ. All right. Not that I'm crazy about it, but it's just a stock that trades very well based on technicals, and it makes it a little easier to trade. So IQ had a massive red day again. Now, again, I think the Asian markets were also getting hit pretty hard on Friday, which may have also helped kind of catapult IQ down along with it. Now, it's hard for me to say long biased on IQ, considering if you look at the daily chart, it just looks horrible. And it just broke below its 50 moving average. It's heading down even more. So yeah, all around the bias on IQ is short. But first, before I get short on it, I would like to see it first squeeze up to 29.60 or even a price of 30, and then I'll look to short it down. So there's a couple ways to play this. Actually, there's a lot of ways. All right, so IQ might break down the $28.50 support and just go. We might see it squeeze up to, this previous resistance and then drop, or it might squeeze up even further to the $30 resistance and then drop. So there's kind of my three ways of playing it. It's either short right out of the gates, or I could take it long up to 29.50, then short, or I could take it long up to 29.50, and then it breaks 29.50 to $30, and then I get short, right? So there's just multiple ways to possibly trade this, and if it works out at any which one of these patterns, it doesn't really matter. There's multiple ways that I see IQ could possibly trade today, and so the only way I'm most likely going to trade it is if it squeezes up. I don't really want to chase IQ short if it just starts dumping out of the gates. That's never a good approach. So personally, I'm probably going to have to wait for either IQ to pop up. Here's another one. It could pop up to the 29.50s, which is this resistance, and then drop. Or instead of that, I end up watching it pop to the 200 moving average, which is right here, and then I get short. So there's like 4 different routes to possibly trade IQ on today. So do I know which one's going to happen for sure? I have no clue, right? So we'll see. But more or less short bias on IQ today. All right. So far, all the earnings plays that I've really looked at this morning, none of them really kind of blew me away. Not really crazy about any of them. Tyson's Chicken, I mean, if you look at this, it's got super low volume and it's gapping up. So everything that I've seen this morning as far as, earnings go, they're all very kind of blah and not really that crazy. So I know a lot of people are talking about the stock, so I will mention it. Universal something. And everyone's looking at it thinking, is this going to be the penny stock to trade for the day? And it maybe it will be, but personally, I am not even going to trade. I am not trading UUU. I've looked at it. I don't like it. It's not a stock that I'm going to trade. If you look at the yearly chart, UUU has a high of $3.50. Then it has more resistance all throughout the $2. So for me right now, UUU has a strong resistance at $2. Or sorry, we're over $2. My apologies. So it's up to 280 right now. So right now it's above its 200 moving average, and it has room to go up to the 52-week high. But I mean, if you look at this chart, I mean, it doesn't really look that good. I mean, it has quite a bit of volume, but it's a back and forth, very choppy looking kind of consolidating chart. Now, this is just normally not what I like to trade. But again, UUU is a big gapper this morning, probably the biggest penny stock gapping up this morning. So personally, I mean, if I were to trade this, I would have to look for it to hold a support above 270, and then I could consider longing it. So as long as UUU can stay up and above 270, which is a pre-market support, then yeah, it might be a good long bias trade. It has good room to the upside. It has about 50 to 80 cents to the upside before the pre-market high. SEAS is SeaWorld. SeaWorld's gapping up this morning, very light volume, so I'm really not crazy about trading SeaWorld either. Normally I would be, but the volume isn't really there for me to justify trading any of the earnings today. None of them have very good volume, therefore I'm not going to trade them, which means therefore I wouldn't recommend any of you guys trading them as well. So that's basically just about it right there. All right, guys, there's the watches for you. I know we're getting actually done a little bit earlier here. But again, right, the earnings plays aren't quite there yet. What do I think of Sono? Probably a no-go. Sono, let's see. Sono was just an IPO. Sono doesn't really, I don't know. I wouldn't know. Sono just got onto the market. It's a recent IPO, so it's only been on the market for 2 days, which means it doesn't give you really any good doesn't give you any technical analysis for a yearly chart, monthly charts, nothing. So, Sono, unless you've gone in and actually read about the company, I haven't read anything on them at all. So for me personally, Sono's one where all you can do is trade intraday charting. So your yearly chart does nothing for you. Monthly chart does nothing for you. The only thing that's going to do any benefits you by trading Sono is by looking at like a 5-minute or a 1-minute chart and just trading intraday levels. That's all that's there. Or you read up on the company, look into some of their reports, and then go based off of a fundamental analysis and determine whether or not you think this thing has more room to grow to the upside, or if it's just going to be a dumpster dive and head down. All right. So I wouldn't really know about Sono. All right. So other than that, guys, that's where I'm going to end it today. So I hope you guys like the stocks are on watch. To me, personally, this is the way I look at it. I think today's starting off slow. There weren't really any crazy earnings plays today. I personally think today's going to be a slower day, which means I'm going to try and take it a little bit slower, which means you should take it a little bit slower. There are no penny stocks that even look good this morning. Do remember this. I will remember this. Since, a lot of you guys tuning in may have not been trading for as long as I have, or even that long in general, but I can tell you this. Just wait until winter comes back around. When winter season comes into effect and we get back into the winter trading months, there's going to be a lot more plays. There's going to be penny stocks that are shooting up all the time. Winter just tends to bring in more volume and more volatility. So if you're looking around right now and you're like, there's just no penny stocks to trade, or if you're on my stream and I'm like, yo guys, there's literally no penny stocks to trade, just know it's because there's no penny stocks to trade. I trade penny stocks, guys. I love trading penny stocks. So a lot of people kind of forgot that maybe about me, is that I personally like to trade penny stocks, but I only trade penny stocks that are worth trading. So remember that. If I don't mention a penny stock, it's usually because I feel it's not worth trading. If I mention a penny stock, it's because I feel it's worth trading or has opportunity. And so if I don't mention it, it's because I don't think it's worth shit, right? The only time I'm going to trade a penny stock is if I see that it's like supernova status, meaning everybody's trading it, it's going nuts, and it's worth trading. If it's a speculative, well, it might be good if it does this, or just nope, not even going to waste my time, because I know that if I waste my time trying to find a penny stock to trade every day, then I'm going to psychologically trick myself into paying attention to penny stocks that are worth absolute shit and they're not worth trading. When in reality, instead of focusing on trying to find or make myself think that a penny stock is worth trading, I can just go find any one of the other 2,000 stocks that are publicly traded on the stock market. I could trade any which one of those on any given day and make money, whereas it doesn't have to be a penny stock. And then, sure enough, if one day I wake up and there is a penny stock that's worth trading that makes sense to trade, then yes, I'll trade it, because why not? But other than that, not something to mess around with and not fire to play with. And that is a big stepping stone for a lot of newer traders to get over. It's not that you shouldn't trade penny stocks, and it's not that they're not good to. They're just not good to trade 99% of the time. So which means you catch yourself trading penny stocks 99% of the incorrect time to trade them. And you're only really trading them 1%. All right, now who knows if those numbers are correct, but I can promise you majority of the time penny stocks are not good to trade, and you should only be trading them every once in a while. So if you find yourself trading them all the time, maybe rethink that. All right. So more in depth on WM. I'll run through WMLP one more time here. Let me share my screen and I'll go over it one more time. 1 second. So hold on 1 second here. All right, guys. So I just want to note that it's not that I don't like to trade penny stocks, and it's not that I have anything wrong against them, but just know that every day you're trading, you're risking money, right? So why risk money on something stupid that it's not worth it, right? I've learned that lesson many times, right? It's not worth losing money if you don't have to, which means there's no point in trading a penny stock that isn't worth trading. Okay. Now, WMLP. So, right, we're looking at WMLP here. Yeah. So, all right. So this is WMLP, right? And so just looking at the yearly chart, right, we know that it can spike. You see this day here, you see these little days here, you see this day. So we know that this thing can spike, right? It has the can-do attitude. Now, there's only one idea that I'm playing, right? I'm only playing, I don't even care what the earnings were today or whatever, I don't care anything. The only thing I am paying attention to, 100%, the only thing that's on my mind today is one possibility and one possibility only. And the only reason WMLP is on my list today, or the only reason I'm recommending this penny stock, is because this thing has big potential. I know it has big potential. Does it mean it's going to work out? No, but if it does, I know it has potential to be a good play today, and that's the only reason I'm mentioning it. So what makes it a good play? This big spike and this massive drop. This is what makes it a good play. So everybody shorted. All right, so everybody was shorting the stock Friday. Short. So a lot of people went in short. And that means if this thing stops going down and it starts to kind of come up and curl, what's going to happen is everybody who is shorting on Friday will start to cover up today, and it could cause a big early morning pop. Now, I don't anticipate we're going to 585. I hardly doubt we're even make it to 4 or 450, but there is a strong possibility that if this thing just goes sideways like this, it's going to pop because of everyone who shorted the stock on Friday. All right. And then now that is officially all I have for you guys. So with that being said, I will end it there. Hopefully that helps you guys. Make sure to have a nice trading day. I will try and get a video uploaded today of today's trading session. I just didn't do anything last week because, well, I had one little computer and that was it. So other than that, guys, I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another watch list and then probably a video here later today. So other than that, take care, stay green, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.